everyone has that in his or her heart. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that mankind are surrounded by weaknesses. And one of those forms of weaknesses that we have that is uncontrollable desires that we have sometime in the world. You know, we are weak in controlling our desire. And that's what's happening. And because of that failure of humanity on their behalf, we see sometimes that religion is becoming victims or victimized because of a misrepresentation of the followers. And so I think we have to be fair and just in judging every faith tradition. That faith tradition is so beautiful. It is about spirituality. It is about God. But at the same time, the people who follow faith traditions are human beings who have limitations and weaknesses. In fact, religions have been given in order for us to maintain our purity as human beings. That is just an opening remarks from me, and I'm going to talk a little bit more after our other panelists presenting their ideas on peace. And so let me begin, I think, with our great friend, Guruji. I would like to begin with you this morning, and namaste to you, peace to you from New York City, both of us here in New York City, but namaste to all Hindus around the world as well, as you are part of them. So I would like to begin with you. Please do share with us about your thought on peace itself.
Thank you, Imam, for organizing this wonderful meeting, especially the starting day of the International Day for Peace. It's a great pleasure and honor to be part of Nusantara Foundation. I congratulate and our Gardner and Kurban Singh, both are my friends and all the friends, Muslim friends. Assalamu alaikum. Here we have to bring the International Day of Peace, importance of International Day of Peace. Each year, the International Day of Peace is observed around the world on 21st September. The UN General Assembly has declared this as a day devoted to strengthening the ideals of peace through observing 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire. This year, theme is Shaping Peace Together. In 2001, the opening day of the General Assembly was scheduled for 11 September, and Secretary General Kofi Annan drafted a message recognizing the observance of International Peace Day on 21st September. This year, the day was changed from the third Tuesday to specifically the 21st day of September to take effect in 2002. A new resolution was passed by the General Assembly, sponsored by the United Kingdom and Costa Rica, to give the International Day of Peace a fixed calendar date, 21st September, and declare it also as a day of global ceasefire and nonviolence. In 2005, United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan called for the worldwide observance of a 22-hour ceasefire and day of nonviolence to mark the day. In 2007, UN Secretary General called for a worldwide moment of silence. And peace, justice, and strong institution is part of the Sustainable Development Goals number 16 at the United Nations. To promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. So these are the institutional level. As a Secretary of the Religious NGOs at the United Nations, I humbly request everybody to practice peaceful activities and promote and live in peace. As a yogi, I believe peace begins with me. Now we have a big movement, peace start with me. We learned from Mahatma Gandhi. He taught us in India, peace begins with us. In yogic world, we always inquire about ourselves. What's the purpose of our life? Why we are here? What's life after death? This is the yogic world. So there's no time to think about violence. Maybe that's why I can understand peace faster than a lot of people. Yoga belongs to the universe. and we all belong to the universe. We are made of the universe. We are the universe. That's the way I believe. When you look at around the world, people fight each other because of philosophy or culture. We all say, oh, we belong to peace, but still very hard for us to get along. So whatever happened in the past, we had to forgive to others, learn something from the past and make a fruitful 21st century through love and care and respect. So when I love myself, I don't want to destroy anyone else. Because all of my brothers and sisters made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, ether, and the space. We all made of same thing. And you read the Quran, Islam is peace. I met so many friends from Islam tradition or Hindu tradition or Christian tradition or Jewish tradition or Buddhist tradition or any other tradition. So beautiful people. Few people may create some troubles and we accuse others as, oh, these people are bad. No, we don't have to think about that. So they may have a different psychological aspects when they grow up. So we are here to, all the religious leaders are here to educate them, support them, make aware of the value of the beautiful life. That's our purpose. I believe in that field. Even people insult me or stab me from my back, I take it as a lesson. I learn from that lesson and I'll try to talk with them very nicely. And this is the way we educate people. I think we are lucky people in America. We can meet people from around the world. I'll say I'm the luckiest who I met so millions of people in my life. So I can learn myself and I can expand my normal conscious mind to the universal conscious mind. And even though you see the corona came, see we learned something from the corona. We may have education or so much money or beauty or all the facilities, but there's no guarantee I'll be alive tomorrow. Something to learn about it. So from the first breath to the last breath, we may live maybe 100 years or 110 years, maybe 70 years. There's no guarantee for life. So why we had to fight each other for why? The greediness has to be stopped. Yeah, the one thing I learned in my personal life, be humble and simple. I used to eat 3 meals a day, then cut down last 30 years to 2 meals a day. Last 6 months, only 1 meal a day. So other meal can go to someone else. They can have food. So I just shrink myself. Be very limited and very simple way I try to live. But day and night interact with the people. I think before I expire, I want to inspire people. The way world is going in a chaos, leaders are not serving us, which they're supposed to do it. All the leaders, even president or prime minister or the government officials or clergy leaders, they are the elected or the selected to serve the humanity, not for just be a leader. A leader is supposed to learn how to serve 100%. When I grew up, I saw all the elected officials used to serve people. That changed to everything became like a money-making machines. So we had to rethink, we had to restructure, we had to upgrade our outdated system. So we have responsible to do something together, a collective movement, more than this is mine and my family. We have to make the change through our actions. Here I like to stop it. I want to listen to my friends. That's the way I learn it. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all a happy International Day of Peace.
Thank you, Guruji. So beautiful presentations. You just reminded us about the International Peace Day of Peace. That is tomorrow, basically, here in the United Nations, the opening of the General Assembly at the UN headquarters. And I think many leaders are coming, and hopefully they are learning how to be peaceful and how to create peace. And thank you for reminding us about that we all came from the same nature of creations, and that is from turab in Arabic, which is from clay and water, and we are breathing the same air, same, so we all share. The problem that we have, some people are so greedy, and the greed have created a lot of chaos in our life. And then thank you for reminding us to be simple and humble. The only thing that I cannot do, that I cannot cut my meal. I'm still eating 3 times daily, but we are fasting sometimes. And I think one of the most important points that you pointed out is the importance of being, inspiring, before expiring. This is a beautiful note that I'm taking. Thank you so very much. We're going to continue in our discussion later on. And now let me give the floor to Reverend Grodner, if you are in. And I think the video is working, Reverend. Can you see? Can you hear me? Reverend Grodner? Yeah. Yeah. Now I can see you. But you are still mute, I think. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, how about that?
Yeah, great. Wonderful, finally.
All right, great. Thank you, Guruji. I was sitting here just being reminded, just a message I heard yesterday, which was really how we need to align ourselves. But I just wanted to preface all of that by saying,
we lost your voice.
We lost your voice.
Sorry?
Yeah, now.
You have been doing this kind of work, bringing people together, interfaith work, writing books together with other religions. I think this speaks volumes of who you are, and thank you. I was just reminded, today is like the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It's a Jewish holiday. I actually come from a Jewish background. I met Father and Mother Moon many moons ago when I was about 22 years old, because, I was looking for something that was very inclusive. I had two streams of blood flowing through my body. One, my mother was quite religious and a very good person, and my father was a New York business person, very driven. And so I always knew, as I was looking for something in my life and pursuing, who am I and what could I do? What contribution can I make?
You lost the sound.
We lost your voice again. I know what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had these two streams of let's say consciousness flowing through my being, and one was something big and something good. I never considered religion as my pursuit of finding truth or understanding, but later on in life, I realized that it is religion that is so important to create a framework of consciousness of ethics, of values, of morals. And I think in the world that we're living in today, we're moving so fast, so rapidly. Young people are learning so much about science, and somehow religion and God, Allah, is somehow being slighted, being moved out of our tradition. And we're inheriting, it's almost like the Renaissance, where everything is external and material. And I think religion in, I believe, Latin, religion means to rebind. And this whole life and all of religion, in my mind, is to help us to rebind back to our, to our Creator, and ultimately to become our true self. In terms of the new norm, I don't know about you, Imam Shamsi Ali, but I'm on Zoom. We're meeting more people on Zoom and Facebook, these platforms than I think we've ever really done before. I just spoke to a friend yesterday, and she said, before I go visit different churches, but now I can visit 10 or 20 churches on a Sunday by just going to their platform and listening to them. If I want to listen, I stay 5 minutes or an hour, whatever I want to do. I can't just leave a service, So this new norm is quite interesting. But on the other side of it, Father Moon once said, he said, when we can feel the suffering of humanity, the kingdom has already come. I believe that as we align ourselves with the challenges that people are facing.
You lost the sound.
You lost your sound, Reverend Gardner. Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm touching, but we are family. And I believe that, one family, in fact, our new name of our evolving mission and movement that I'm part of is now called the Heavenly Parent Holy Community. We are all to be parents to one another, and there's no greater love than a parent for their children. And if we can assume the role of sometimes parents, sometimes children, sometimes uncles, sometimes aunts, whatever, we can always see each other as family. And I think this is one of the key kind of frames that we need to begin to see each other as, if I'm with somebody who's older, but maybe a little bit older or something. It could be my older sister, or older than that, maybe my uncle or my aunt. So under this Holy Parent, Heavenly Parent Holy Community, we have many organizations doing many things, but one of the key organizations that which is under this umbrella is the Universal Peace Federation. I can't really speak for them, but I'm part of it. They just finished a summit 2019 where they brought 6,000, not even just before, just as it was hitting the pandemic, there was a summit in Korea with 6,000 top leaders in the areas of economics, in the areas of politics, in the areas of religion, in the areas of media. And it was a very powerful, many people didn't come because the pandemic already began. We had to go, some of us went through China, and then others went directly to Korea, but 6,000 of these incredible people came together to talk about these things, about not the new norm, because it was the norm, but how can we, from all these different perspectives, how can we bring ethics and values, which really is represented by our religions. And without our religions and without our faith communities, we cannot speak properly, from the world of economics or the world of media. If there is no standard, if there's no ethics and values and morals that are in the epicenter of all of our daily activities, then we're missing something of great importance, and that is the spirituality of every single human being. Yes, we have a physical body, and yes, we need sustenance, and yes, we need the things, and we have physical desires, but all of those things must be controlled by, and all those appetites and all those vehicles in which we can help and serve other people, all of it is based on our spirituality. And for instance, science and technology, we could do terrible, destructive things with our technology, or we could do great things. We could serve humanity. We can load up, gigantic carrier planes that can actually carry tanks for war, where we could fill up with food and supplies for a nation that was hit by a natural disaster or whatever. So, but it's all based on the human spirit, and whether we can, as Guruji, talked about, mastering oneself. If we can't master ourselves, then our greed and all those other things will be dominant in every human being. So religion is really the epicenter of creating the world of goodness, the world of harmony, the world that, no, you don't have to change, I must change. So religion talks about me changing. I must be the change in this world if I want to see a changed world. And we're very, very, if you watch any network on TV, it's usually somebody else is causing the problem. It's not me. But religion says, I am the problem. My out of alignment with my God, with my divine purpose, is the problem. If I was in alignment, then maybe my family would be in alignment. Then my community could be in alignment. Our society, our nation, and ultimately the world. So really it comes back to the individual, but the first kind of rung is the family of making that change that is affecting society, as we know. And as we see, the challenges of young people, as we see the disconnect between, our society and people who have been marginalized, there's a disconnect because the heart is not at the center of these relationships, and we're insensitive to the needs of our brothers and sisters. So therefore, there's rebellion, there's resentment, there's arrogance on those that might have, and they're okay and they lived a good life and they're privileged. And there's a sense of arrogance and a sense of pride that's not centered, on what the perception of others, the reality of others might be. And maybe will be an internal perspective on everything, that there's a new perspective that we could really begin to understand the feelings, the situation, the circumstance that my brothers and sisters are in, whether it be across the globe or across the train tracks. And as we, share those things, and we understand that there needs to be a mutual prosperity, and there needs to be shared values, and there needs to be these things. We need to not only just understand them intellectually, but how do we apply them? How do we live for the sake of others? How do we deny ourselves? Like Guruji mentioned, sometimes the most difficult thing is denying myself. If I cannot deny myself, then I cannot easily live for the sake of others. Because living for the sake of others means that I'm going to sacrifice something of myself. But what's going to replace that sacrifice is incredible benefit, incredible goodness, incredible happiness and joy. And that cannot be replaced by, or it cannot be replaced by anything. And certainly anything would be to offer anything for that result, because everyone wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And we just don't know the model for happiness. But happiness truly does come from living for the sake of others and recognizing that we are family, one family under God. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Grudner. So beautiful presentations, great points that need to be remembered and applied into our life. I just wanted to emphasize on, I think one of the most important that God for quite a long time had been seemingly marginalized in many humans' life. And that had been one of the many roots of the problems in life. In fact, there's fundamental problems, particularly here, we know in the Western society where God is denied, then you see what is happening. People are so advanced in their material life, but then they lose their life. They don't have direction in life. And so it's very important that we have to take back God into our life and to take back spirituality into our life. And that will give us direction in life, as Guruji mentioned, where we came from, why we are here, where we're going, all these are in need of that direction, and direction is coming from God. But also we need to actualize that into our social and collective life as human beings. And for that to happen, we need to have self-sacrifice. And that's why it's very important to not to deny our own self, but to understand that we are part of humanity. We are part of this one family under one God. And I think that's what we had to have in our life. Thank you so much. Now we are going to our third panelist, Mr. Kipral Singh, who is a Sikhism leader here in the United States. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor. Please, sir.
Hello, greetings.
Greetings.
To you all. Assalamu alaikum,
Salam.
namaste, ram ram, or whatever background you may have. My name is Dr. Kirpal Singh. I'm president of the Sikh Foundation in Daytona Beach, Florida. I practice Sikhism. To tell you about Sikhism a little bit, I want to talk to you about the founder. The founder of Sikhism is Guru Nanak. Nanak's timeline, if you look at it, he was born over 500 years ago, around the time when Columbus discovered America. Protestant movement came into existence with Martin Luther and other things. India, Vasco da Gama discovered India. So that's the timeline in which Guru Nanak was born. And during his time, the two dominant communities in India were the Islamic community and the Hindu community. And there were a lot of misunderstanding among them. So Guru Nanak's message was, his message was of oneness, what he called Ik Onkar. That means, Ik Onkar means like we have a sun and sunshine. Sun is Ik and Onkar is the sunshine. So they one. And it's the same thing what we call Khalik Khalq, Khalq mein Khalik. Or we say Balhari Kudrat Vasya Tirant na jai lakhya, which means same thing. So God is in creation and the creation is in God and beyond. So there is no limit. No one knows how God looks, how it is and all. The only thing we know is we are created in his image, and the way to be grateful to him is to love what he has created. That creation, humanity and animals, kingdom, plants, whatever you have, birds. So to love God is to love his creation and to honor the diversity which he has created by his command, which we call hukam. So Nanak was followed by 9 successors who also emphasized the same teachings. And they established the institutions of bringing people together, starting locally, create what we call langar. Langar means the place where everyone is welcome to eat and contribute and to work together for each other's welfare. And they created Srovars, which were the bathing places. So no matter who they were, what religion they were, what caste they were, what part of the ethnic groups were, they were all welcome to use that facility to maintain cleanliness so that we have individual and good public health. And like that, his emphasis was living ethically. You know, that there's abundance created by our Creator. There's no lack of things. We don't need to. He takes care of us at all times and every moment. Even the creatures which are between the mountains or other places under the sea. So that God takes care of all of us. So we don't need to hoard things and deprive others for our personal benefits to a degree where it causes them deprivation, discomfort. So he emphasized in our remembrance of our Creator, in gratitude, always we must seek Sarvata Bala, which is everyone's welfare, each and everyone's. So we can practice any religion, any kind of way of life, but it should be ethical. And we should not step on other people's freedom, or do not misrepresent or bribe or terrorize people. Because as children of the God, you know, we all have a common parent who's our father and mother. So this kind of teaching, Guru Nanak, kind of bridged the East and West together. So as during his lifetime, he was known as Nanak Shah Fakir, Hindu the Guru, Musliman the Peer. That he was the teacher for the Hindus and Peer for the Muslims. That's a kind of legendary situation. When time came to pass away, then people asked him, you know, we want to take care of your body our way. And the legend goes in a place called Kartarpur, which maybe Imam may have visited. The birthplace of Guru Nanak is called Nankana Sahib, close to Lahore. And this Kartarpur, where he passed away, his remains, the half were taken by the Muslims and they buried them. The half by the Hindus and Sikhs, and they cremated them and built a temple. A little later, a flood came in the river Ravi, where the Kartarpur is. It washed away all those things. To me, that means that Guru Nanak belonged not halfway, but fully to each one of them. No matter whether they were Muslims or they were Hindus or any other. So the message of peace comes from accepting the divine, and divine produced diversity, and trying to live ethical living. When we talk about it, not only talk about it, but actually practice locally wherever we live, by cooperating and collaborating with others, then we can create a global change for peace. We should think globally, but action must start locally. So peace begins wherever you are. And it comes from educating our own minds, recognizing who we are. The spark of that Lord is in all of us. And when we try to manage our mind better, according to these teachings of our religions, whatever you may have, I think then we are welled up with courage and service to others, selfless service above any kind of good act. Even when one time Guru Nanak, he traveled widely. One time he went toward Baghdad, Middle East. He used to write his compositions in a book. The Peer of Baghdad asked him,
biar itu tiduran di sofa juga.
Yeah, please unmute yourself, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, unmute yourself. I think it's muted.
So Pir of Baghdad asked him, who's better, Hindu or Muslim? He said, Pirji, without ethical living, both suffer. So his emphasis was, actions speak louder than the words. And the humility is the key to serve each other. As we bring these ideas together in our everyday living, we become instruments to bring about the peace and peaceful coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, from Florida, away from New York City, for such wonderful presentations. I think the emphasis on the presentation is about unity, harmony, peace, togetherness, on the basis of one God, one family. I think the whole presentation that we have heard is about one God, one spirituality, one humanity, one family, you know, all these about unity. But at the same time, certainly we don't have the right to deny the existence of differences that we have, the existence of diversity. And therefore unity is so important in the midst of our diversity, because we have particularities in each one of us, but at the same time we have a common ground. I think the challenge of the Quran is clear. All mankind, in particular, and this Reverend Grodner now, are people of the book, and I believe that every single religion who believe in the book, they are people of the book. Or people of the book come to the same common ground, and that common ground is that we worship none but God, not our desire, not our affiliations, not even what we call that our official religions, but our God, the one who gave us that religions. And that's the essence of faith, basically. And so thank you very much. And yes, I have seen, I was in Lahore several times. And I think it's very important that you emphasize on the importance of living ethical life. And that's what we call akhlaq in Arabic language. Akhlaq is the cheese of the religion, basically, is the essence of every faith tradition. How to live our life ethically, both to God and humanity. Hablum min Allah, our connection with God and our connection with other people around us. So again, thank you so very much for this wonderful presentation. I just wanted to say briefly, I am joining your opinions, your ideas, and I agree with all of them. But at the same time, I think we have also to see the realities in the ground. Why then some people fail to represent their faith, including us Muslims, and we have to acknowledge that. Certainly, number one is because of the lacking of spirituality. We are so much formal in our religiosity. So you see sometimes that people are, in terms of physical identities, are so much religious, but they are lacking the essence of religion, the essence of, because we are lacking spirituality. So it is very important that we build. I think in the language of Guruji, this is from the inner side of us. This is from us inside. And that's what the focus of Islam, that inna fil jasadi mudghah, there is a flesh in our body. If that flesh is sound, healthy, then everything else will be healthy. And that is our heart. That is the inner part of ours. And that's what spirituality is all about. We are lacking spirituality. We are doing everything about the religion, except sometimes that we are not dealing with our heart. And that's why we are lacking honesty, we are lacking humbleness, we are lacking, ethics, as the Mr. Singh mentioned, ethical life. And certainly number two is the ignorance of the religion in the name of the religion itself. In other words, many religious, what we consider religious practices, in fact, not only that is against the religion, but destroying the religion. And we can see that many people who claim to be so religious, but basically destroying the very religion that we believe in. And that's one of the reasons is because of the literal understanding of the faith itself. So in any faith tradition, we need contextual understanding. Islam, for example, had been revealed in the last 15 centuries, and throughout the age, we need to contextualize the teaching. And I think it's very, very important. Number three, the importance of also acknowledging the existence of realities in the ground, and that is including unjust treatment of some in our society. Sometimes a person is so nice, so good, but when they are, you know, insulted, or degraded, pushed down, then they have his ego to defend themselves. And that's what it is. And so I think we have to fight against unjust treatment of some in our society. And I think here in America, we see that in our own backyard. The rise of extreme political, you know, ideologies, including white supremacy ideologies in our community, have, you know, divided the people tremendously, and looks like we are hating each other. And you know, the black are not hating the white are not hating the black, and because of that unjust treatment of some. So I think we need leadership here to bridge between groups of people, and this is happening around the world. Peace cannot be forced when sometimes justice is not observed. So it is very important that peace is followed by justice, or justice will follow the peace itself. It's very important. I still remember Kofi Annan in 2000 when he gave his Millennium Report to the United Nations, and he said, you know, in order for us to obtain peace in the world, we have to be secure from worries and from fears and from hunger. Okay, so development is very important. Prosperity is very important. If economic injustices occur everywhere else, it's so difficult sometimes for the people to force themselves to be silent, you know, to be silent. So we cannot force them to be silent. We need to give them their share. So again, justice is very important as a requirement for peace to establish. The next one is, sometimes there is, I see a systemic perception which is being built against certain people, and media here is playing an important role. There is an unjust treatment in the media where, for example, in the Muslim world, some non-Muslims are being treated unfairly. I was in Saudi Arabia for quite a long time, and I know that a certain group of people around the world are being mistreated very, very openly. Similarly, also, for example, Islam is being mistreated by the media very unfairly, and it is very systematic in a way that they present the faith so badly. Looks like everyone is ISIS, everyone is, you know, terrorists, you know, and that's what it is. And so I think we have to be just and fair enough in presenting others, both in ourselves and others around us. And that's why, for me, in my interfaith work with the Jewish community in the United States, we have that motto called your fight is mine and my fight is yours. It is about all of us. Possibly the last one, of course, I mentioned this briefly, is about the rise of extreme political ideologies that had caused many tremendous challenges around the world. If you may remember what happened to the Muslim in New Zealand and the Jewish people here in America, how many people are massacred in Philadelphia and others because of that extreme political ideologies. So peace is a part of our nature, basically, but unfortunately, sometimes also we have to deal with the realities around us. And that's why it is very important that love, compassion is all the essence of faith. You know, there is no faith without essence, without faith, without love. There is no faith without compassion, without mercy. And that's what Islam is always, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. That's the most fundamental root and a foundation of our faith. But unfortunately, sometimes we are distracted by the realities in the ground. So I think that is just an addition for me. I'm just talking about the realities. It's very important that all of us are fighting against it so that we can maximize the genuine peace and compassion that we have within ourselves. And of course, we have to begin that from our own self. That's from me. And I think we are now going to some questions from our audience. And I want you to raise your hand, or maybe you can, if you want to talk directly, you can raise your hand and unmute yourself. Okay, I have the former, and this is away from Indonesia. I have the former ambassador of Indonesia to Qatar, who is Sheikh Abdul Wahid Maktub, and he is also former Consul General of Indonesia in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So please, Ambassador. The floor is yours.
Very much. I hope you can hear my voice clearly.
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah, I enjoyed the presentation by all what honorable speaker. Yeah, hopefully this dialogues and discussion will inspire all of us. Yeah, I want to emphasize about the importance of justice, as mentioned by the moderators, and also about the importance of renew the interpretations of the religious thoughts, because sometimes religious thought become obsolete and sometimes become a prison and fences, not a tunnel and bridging among the humanity. So that's why we must intensify the dialogue in order we make all the humanity become aware, self-awareness, but also at the same time, personal awareness must be followed by social awareness. So we must also understand about the complexity of human dimension, not only in the structural, cultural, and intellectual, but also spiritual, which is more global and which more universal, because sometimes we interpret religious thought and religious teaching very narrow-mindedly and very chauvinistic, with sometimes neglecting the essence and the substance of the religion itself, namely what the humanity, oneness of humanity. So that's why this must be what renewed all the times in order it become relevance. Yeah. So sometimes between wasila, instrument, and the goals, yeah, and the purpose of life is to understand who is God. And we cannot understand God without loving each creatures. And the most honorable creatures is human itself. So sometimes it's very what paradox. Yeah. If we claim we are religious, but at the same time we are doing something against the religious values itself. So that's why the elites of the religious elite must be responsible to address the misinterpretation which has spilled over to the misimplementation. So it is very serious now. Yeah. So many religion followers have problem with su'il fahm, yeah, namely misinterpretation, lack of interpretation, which has spilled over to lack or misimplementation, and it is very dangerous. If we look at to the substance of the human, is regardless differences in